Today on Snow Reviews, I bring you a game from Steam that is also available on your iPhone called I Gladiator. Alright, I'll knock it off. Anyway, I Gladiator is a game ported from iOS to Steam, and apparently people are in an uproar about it. I mean, why? You'd all rather play an action brawler on a touchscreen rather than a gamepad? But then again, I never played the iOS version, so for all I know, it works out better with a touchscreen. The iOS version is also $3, where this game on Steam is $8. Okay, I'll admit it's kind of dumb how the Steam version is $5 more, but considering the $25 I just spent last week on a severe disappointment, I don't see $5 as too big of a deal. Anyway, getting to the game, it does a really good job of grabbing your attention from the start. This is what you get as soon as the menu opens up. Now, I don't know about you, but that got me pumped up to go fight in the arena. Then you get in and you have cheering crowds, roses at your feet, getting showered in gold. It's just a great environment. The game has about a 7-minute cutscene after the intro that sets up the story of the game. It does drag on a bit too long, but once you sit through it, it's nothing but gameplay. Anyway, the long and short of it is, you're a gladiator who got cheated and killed, and now Mercury wants you to be his champion because it's what all the cool gods have. And Mercury wants to fit in. In exchange, the gladiator gets to have revenge for his wrongful death. Simple enough. There's a lot of nice little attention to detail in this game. All the spoken dialogue is in the language the Romans would have used, and that's something you never realized you wanted in a game set in this period until you actually had it. The background crowd is my favorite feature, as it feels really good pulling off a dismemberment and hearing the crowd go wild. At the same time, if you aren't fighting or running away, the crowd begins to boo you. When they do, you lose XP and money. It's a subtle incentive to get back in the fight and brawl. You can make the crowd cheer more by mixing up your attacks and adding some variety to your play. Before each battle, you're given 3 optional objectives to complete to earn more money and XP. The game does a great job of coaxing its players to experiment. Unfortunately, it isn't all praise and high glory for this game. The game is a simple action brawler which is going to get samey and repetitive. As such, you'll burn out on it pretty quick. Combat is very simplistic, being 2 attacks and a stun, and the closest thing to a combo is alternating X and A until your stamina bar runs out. There are stage interactables to land kills with, but I found them more tedious to pull off than practical. The only time I used any ground-based trap was when the enemy was running towards me and I could time it properly, after which I just ran up and styled on the enemy until death. I have to say the game wasn't optimized for fighting multiple opponents. One-on-one, the combat is fine for the most part, but when you have others around as well, it becomes a major problem. You're locked onto one character and it's difficult to switch between enemies. I found myself taking needless attacks from people around me while I was trying to focus on one enemy. It also wouldn't hurt the game to allow combat without the lock-on requirement, so I could use some sort of swinging haymaker to intentionally fight multiple enemies. There's another major issue I'm having with the game coming from the controls. It's very awkward when my shoulder buttons get randomly switched when I exit and re-enter the game. I would hit right trigger expecting to block and I'd kick instead, resulting in half my life bar gone. I also have grief with the unresponsive controls. At first I thought maybe I had to time out and pace my attacks frame by frame like Street Fighter, and for a time it worked out. But then I turned the game off, came back, and there were several times when I had a full stamina bar, enemy wasn't attacking, I'd press X or A and nothing would happen. It's almost as if the game was telling me when I could attack rather than me telling the game when I wanted to attack. Is this a glitch? Is it intentional? Is it a carryover from touchscreen controls? Whatever it is, I want it fixed. The game's atmosphere feels pretty unique to me, but it's killed by repetitive and glitched combat. After the initial wow factor of the first day's play, I'd only play 1 or 2 battles at a time before I got bored and moved on to something else. So as it stands right now, I wouldn't recommend the game due to the frustration the combat would present me with when the game was having a bad day. It also doesn't help the game is released on another platform for half the price. There's a lot of good ideas here, but unless they do something patching the combat, I'd leave this one alone.